Football Guys Talking Basketball, FGTB. The Sooners had to have it against Cincinnati. And my goodness, it didn't start well, Ted, but ends up going into overtime, an absolute emotional roller coaster of a game. But they found a way, baby. The Sooners found a way. That 20th win, we've talked a lot about it. It's massive to get that 20th win. And they got it. They got it, Ted. I don't care how ugly it was. They got it, baby. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, it was funny. I was watching the game in the living room. My wife was watching some of her stuff back in the bedroom, and she was hearing the moans and groans coming from the living room, and she's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh my God, we look terrible. We look so bad right now. It's so horrible." But kept getting better and better, chipping away, and gosh, they didn't felt like they didn't lead that basketball game at all until the absolute very end, whenever things got super interesting.
I want to say on the broadcast, I think it's when they went up 69-67 in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
The crew goes, it's OU's biggest lead of the game.
Oh
It
man.
just, you had no Javion McCollum. Suarez didn't look close to 100% at all.
Yeah.
That's about as bad as Uzan's looked. I mean, he was an absolute non-factor with the foul trouble, and he just didn't play well. But they're able to find a way, and so many things happened late in that game. The ups and downs of Darthur hitting the massive three. Beautiful play by Porter Moser,
Oh,
by
it
the way.
was.
But hits the massive three, and then Godwin gets that was a tough foul call. He's in there battling. Uh Bendago misses the first, but then makes the second. Oweh had a good look at the buzzer
Mm-hmm.
at the end of regulation, just doesn't fall. And then when you in overtime, when you felt like they're gonna put it away, hey, you just got to hit some free throws. Maybe it feels a little more comfortable. They missed those free throws. And what'd you think about them not fouling late when Cincinnati got the three up?
I don't know. It's one of those things to me. Like, this has always been the debate, right? And
I just always thought Porter was a foul when you're up three guy, but
on the floor, right? Like, get out there and get them quick. Yeah. I don't know. And
but
maybe that's what he's screaming from the bench. I don't know, but ah, that was a wild ending.
Coach just had a good look, just missed it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you look at a lot of things that happened in that game, and how did OU win? The key was the free throw line. And in fact, when you look at the free throw disparity, OU was 28 of 34. Cincinnati was 9 of 11. The fact that you have that disparity in the game ends up in overtime is mind boggling. Now, Cincinnati dominated the paint. So that's clearly a big reason as to why the game went the way that it did. But both teams hit six threes. You hit 19 more free throws than them and nearly lost. I didn't even know that was possible.
Well, there have been some box score anomalies this year with Oklahoma. All right,
No
whenever you
kidding.
look at it and look at some of these games, it's like, hang on a second. Uh, you shot 30% from the floor and still won a basketball game. How in the world does that happen? But they've been kind of, just, and I don't know with McCollum when they knew about that. It was a surprise to me, but that's tough. Whenever you're the guy that's got the ball in his hand, I don't know, 80% of the game is all of a sudden not going to be in the lineup. That's not exactly what you want. So to be able to adapt and overcome that is pretty impressive. And again, like we were talking about it on the last pod, I think when you look at this season, 20 wins from where that is an incredible accomplishment, especially in this conference. I know there's been times that we've been super frustrated with this team, and last night, the first 10 minutes of that basketball game was probably as frustrated as anyone has been all season. I they've battled and they've clawed and scrapped their way to 20 wins, which is not easy to do.
OU Twitter was ablaze
I bet.
the first 10 minutes of that game because it did not look good. It was a must-win situation, and they came out as flat as could be. But I keep coming back to this. They needed it, and they got it. And I'm really glad they got it because that was going to be some ugly discourse if they lost that one.
Oh my goodness. I
And
know it.
I'm happy for Porter Moser. I'm happy for those players. And now I don't know if you can call it stress-free, but they have to feel a sense of relief, and hopefully that'll allow them to go to Austin on Saturday and play loose and hopefully be, extremely competitive in that game. Hopefully it leads to a good performance. But getting that 20th win, huge. Ted, it feels like they are a lock for the NCAA tournament no matter what happens. Would you love for them to get another win or two? Absolutely. But a 20-win team battling the way that they battled throughout Big 12 play, you feel good about where they're at, kind of that 10 seed, maybe end up an 11 seed type of situation. But yeah, man, I was up and down during that game emotionally, but hey, got it done.
Yeah. And Texas is fighting a little injury problem themselves, right? The big guy has the knee sprain, which is a big factor for them.
Dylan Dessou, the push
That
shot
loss.
master.
Yeah, when they lost to Baylor. So, if you could, that would be, I, it, they have to be not pressure free totally with where they are now. But I think you're right that hopefully plays a factor because it does feel like confidence for them is like one of the things that like really swings how they play. And some days you get really good performances, and then like we have our best performance probably of the season against Houston offensively with shot making and moving the ball and being aggressive in the paint. And then the first half of that game last night, you're like, is this the same basketball team? So hopefully they can, with the feeling that they're in, channel some of that better ball.
Congrats to OU women's basketball.
Hmm.
Won the Big 12 regular season title, of course, but cleaned up in the awards. Skylar Van, co-player of the year. Peyton Verhulst was newcomer of the year. And Jenny Baranczyk, Jenny B, Big 12 coach of the year. Ted, this is awesome. The Sooners will play the winner of Oklahoma State and TCU on Saturday at 1:30 in Kansas City. Just what a season. I know ultimately you get judged by what you do in the tournament, but what Jenny Baranczyk has done with this program, she's infused excitement back into OU women's basketball. And I was really happy to see them get acknowledged for this awesome season they've had.
Yeah, it's been an incredible turnaround and run. I mean, it's so weird that the December they had continues to be held over their head. Isn't it weird that you win the Big 12 outright regular season championship 2 years in a row, and right now they are like the fourth highest ranked team in the conference?
I just don't understand it. What are they ranked? 19th, 18th, 19th in the latest
Something
eight
like
people?
that. Yeah.
What are we missing?
I don't know. And
how do you, we're common sense guys, right? Texas has had a hell of a season. They're very well coached. OU's beat them twice. Last time I checked, if you go to a team's building and beat them, and then they come to your building and you beat them, you're better than them. But
Yeah.
I know it's the body of work, and they had a really, really rough start to the season, but you think that the voters would recognize that it's a
It's
completely different basketball team now, right?
it's March, not December, right?
Right.
A lot has happened, but I, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter. I mean, it matters with seeding, and I don't know, what the seeding is going to look like for them, but it would be frustrating if they win the Big 12 conference and hopefully perform really well in the conference tournament and don't get rewarded with a as high of a seed as they should get. I mean, isn't it almost criminal like if they're not the highest seed, especially if they do well in the Big 12 tournament? Like if they're not the highest seed coming out of the conference?
It wouldn't make much sense. That's the thing is Baylor's ranked higher than them. I think they only played Baylor once in Norman, beat them. I, the
I don't know.
mystery continues.
I don't know.
Hey, little fuel for GDB. I'm sure she doesn't hate it, but we'll see. I'm excited to watch them at the Big 12 tournament and ultimately in the NCAA tournament. The Thunder had a back to back on Sunday and Monday against Phoenix, and then the Lakers. And looking at the Phoenix game, yeah, not great that Nurkic had 31 rebounds. not not what you're looking for, but ultimately the Thunder were fantastic down the stretch of the fourth quarter, took the game over, just choked the life out of the Suns. SGA, man, he was a killer in that fourth quarter. But the Lakers game was a little bit of a different story. Ted, that was about as much as I can recall Shea Gilgeous-Alexander struggling to get clean looks in a game.
Yeah.
And
And
credit to the Lakers, they were fantastic defensively, great effort, really good intensity. You could tell they cared about that game. And
starting
their
to
team
crank
is
it up.
also just huge.
That's what I was going to ask. Is this just kind of a sign of, and this has been kind of a season long dialogue, especially in the front court, that the size is really going to be the thing that is going to be troublesome for the Thunder. And I know that's, why they added Biombo, but I mean, I think the Lakers kind of personify that, right?
The Lakers, the Lakers are huge. They'll get even bigger when Vanderbilt gets back from injury. But they shot the hell out of the ball. When you've got D'Angelo Russell hitting heat check threes in Jalen Williams' face, sometimes it's just the other team's night. And you can always use the excuse that it's a back to back, but I just don't think the Lakers are a very good matchup for the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Anthony Davis, his presence in the lane, it's a problem for the Thunder. Just is. I think it's more of a problem when on the defensive end of the floor. I think he really alters a lot of things that Shea wants to do, getting into that mid range area. But the defense for the Lakers is what stood out to me. You just don't see Shea get bottled up like that. And Jalen Williams didn't shoot the ball well. 2 and 9. He only had 7 points, and I had to like double and triple check that. Because in my mind, he's past that. Like he should have 0 of those types of games with how good he is. You're talking about a guy that a lot of people are saying is going to be an all-star in the near future. All-stars, unless it's a crazy blowout situation, like all-stars don't have games where they score 7. They just don't.
Yeah.
So I think that way it was a frustrating night for him, but other than Lou Dort doing his best to keep that game close by hitting 3 after 3 after 3, Lakers have beat the Thunder 3 in a row.
Mm.
And I think the size and the strength of the Lakers just gives them a lot of trouble. Now, you can say that gives a lot of teams trouble, maybe every team trouble. But you start thinking about who you want the Thunder to get in the opening round. I don't think they'll be scared of anybody, but you look at what the Lakers, how they've played them. I wouldn't hate if it was not the Lakers in the first round, if
Right.
that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. And you know, the Lakers are, and you see this in the NBA, they're a veteran-led team, and sometimes the veteran-led teams have said, "Well, I think it's I think it's more important for us to keep something in the gas tank, stay healthy, and all of that matters more than seeding in the standings. And when the playoffs come, we can wait until then to really crank things up." And I think you're going to see quite a bit of that, especially in the Western Conference. There's some veteran led, really good teams that I think you're going to see them really crank up the intensity in the playoffs and look maybe a lot better than they do now.
Hopefully the Thunder can match that. And that's one thing. For the most part, the Thunder have been healthy. Like their guys play. They got a lot of young guys and they play. So how different does it look when things, because it just naturally it ramps up in the playoffs.
Slows
Refs
down a
let a
little
little
bit.
more go. Like, how do they handle the increased physicality? We'll see. We're not going to know until we see it, but wouldn't mind avoiding the Lakers in the first round. That's all I'm saying.
I know it. I know it. Just God, ever since LeBron has gone to the Lakers, it's been a team of creatures. They just they look like nothing I've ever seen before.
Large basketball team. Now, the Thunder have Portland tonight, 9 p.m. Central tip. These late tip times, I'm just telling you, I'm built for them. I stay up late anyways. I hear all
I
these
do
people,
too.
oh, this is ridiculous. Listen, man, I will stay up however late I need to stay up to see the number 2 seed in the Western Conference play. That's your Oklahoma City Thunder, people. Only a half game back. Stop complaining about the late tips. You're fine. Take a nap throughout the day. I'm tired of seeing it, especially people that cover the team. Oh my gosh, these late tips. Stay up. Quit your whining. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's hard for me to go to sleep early. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've been to sleep before 11:30 over the last probably 20 years, especially if it's not like I'm sick or something like that has happened. Just a night owl.
I look at us. Look at us. Stop complaining, people. It's fine. It's how time zones work. It's all right.